everyone, welcome back to Alchemy with Zero Phase. This is Eric, and in this tutorial video we will be doing a deep dive into an extension called ADetailer. So what this extension does, it allows you to, or gives you the ability to correct faces as well as whole persons, meaning the whole person as a body, and it even has a model for trying to correct hands. Now, I'm going to put a little caveat in here on the hands. It doesn't really fix hands, like if they're completely mangled, deformed, whatever, it doesn't really do a lot with that. What it does do is if you do have at least decent hands, it adds the detail, it corrects fingernails, it adds texture in the creases where they're supposed to. So it does a pretty good job with that if you've already got the hands in your image. So what we're going to do, let's dive into starting off with how to install it. It is an extension, but it does not show up under the available here, which is interesting because on their website it says it does, but I cannot find it here. So what you need to do is, I'll leave the link in the description, but the extension is right here, ADetailer. That's the link right there, but what you'll want to do is go here to their GitHub, go to the code menu, select copy here, and then paste it into the install from URL, install there, and then restart the interface. Super easy, there's really nothing to it on that. So when you do get that installed, it should, and restart the interface, it'll have your accordion button right here. And when you open it up, you'll get access to the ADetailer functionality. Just as a quick overview, there are two different ADetailer options here. When you enable this, you have, you can select. This is helpful because you can select, say you want to do a face first and then maybe do the hands next, you can do that. Another process is selecting the person first and then under the second one selecting face. And this is, I'm going to show you why you want to do this in the video here. So we're going to leave that enabled for right now. We're going to disable the second one and just move over to the face on the first one. Don't worry about all these different models here. You can experiment with some of those, but we're going to focus mostly on the face ELO V8N and the person ELO V8N segmentation. Okay, so let's get a prompt for some photography. I have a request here. We're going to do a three-person group portrait photography. We're going to grab that. I think it actually did have that. Right, but let's copy that. We're going to put this in here. I'm using a model to generate the image called TurboVision XL Superfast XL. I'm actually really liking this one. I typically use Reality's Edge, but I'm finding this one to be slightly better when it comes to actually generating hands or getting the hands correct more often than some of the other ones. I'm not going to say it's all the time. We all know how it is. So under settings, I am using a turbo sampler. So these are available under, when you're using the WebUI Forge Edition. You'll have Euler A Turbo, DPM++ 2M Turbo, and DPM++ 2M SDE Turbo. Okay, we're going to use this one. Setting sampling steps to 8. You can go as low as 4 if you want. You really start to lose quality after that. We're just going to do 8 for speed purposes. Let's set this to more of a portrait aspect ratio. This is an extension called Aspect Ratio Helper. You can look it up. I link to it in many of my other videos. It's a wonderful extension to have, makes for doing some really quick changes with aspect ratios. Config scale set to 3. This allows for a little more vivid of an image. We're just going to do one picture. We have the ADetailer enabled, but we're going to disable it right now. I just want to show you what the picture looks like without this enabled. And we're just going to generate. We're just going to get one picture. May need to switch models depending on what I was using last time, but this won't take very long. There it goes. So we have 3 friends. And we're going to open this picture up. And, you know, their eyes aren't open, faces are a little weird, they are a little odd. And one of the things you always notice is the teeth. Like when you get in close here, teeth are just mangled. The nose is screwball on this one, just awkward. Everything's very awkward. You know, I'm gonna take out joyously laughing. We're just gonna put smiling. I kind of want an image of people smiling, so we get the teeth, obviously, because we want to see the teeth being corrected, but eyes open too, because that's a big deal when using ADetailer. As you can see with this one right here, again, we have absolutely mangled teeth. Eye is a little weird on this one. Yes, they're smiling, so their eyes are a little squinted, and that's fine. But as you can tell, this is very, very messed up. Now, we're going to do this before doing a high-res fix to show you that it is capable of fixing the image before we upscale it, or that it will actually make it, even though it's low res, it will fix it. So let's go ahead and come down here. We're going to enable ADetailer. We're not going to worry about fixing the torsos yet. We'll do a different image for that. Okay, so we've got this enabled. It's on face ELOV8 NPT. These are models it should automatically grab and download when you install the extension. We aren't going to worry about the positive prompt and negative prompt here. We're going to just let it be. There are some options under detection, mask processing, and inpainting that we'll get into a little later here. So what it's going to do, here's what's going to happen. When you click generate, it's going to generate the image. It's going to isolate the faces, and then it's going to re-render the faces utilizing the selected model. And we're going to see if it has the effect I think it's going to have. And this is typically how I think a lot of people do this. They don't dive into the settings on ADetailer. So as you can see, it grabs the faces. It's going to go through them one at a time. It's going to do the corrections. I can already tell you I can see the issue here already. Okay, so let's open this up. So a couple things here. It did do a lot of correction on the teeth. Again, these are low res images, but it's fine. Corrected the facial structure, which is nice. But I'm going to show you something here that I hate with this. You can see the inpainting outline. So it's hard to see up in the hair, but you can almost always see it just below the chin. There's a coloring difference, and it just kind of ruins the image. So I'm going to show you how to fix that. Come down here to the ADetailer options. We're going to go under mask. Let's see, no, not mask processing, inpainting. We're going to change the mask blur up. You can fix it usually with this. This helps. We're going to change it up to 12. That's where I usually like to go. And this will help. Inpaint denoise strength. This just tells it how much freedom it has to change the face. I would leave it at 0.4. Don't worry about it. It seems to work great at that particular level. So inpaint only mask padding. It's just like when you're using inpainting. What it does is it's how much of the surrounding area it's going to include. Like it pads the outer area. It's like it gives the AI context into the surrounding area, so it helps identify like lighting and how it's going to render. Don't worry about that. You can just leave that as is. Now here's the big change that's really going to help with this. Now this will slow down rendering a little bit, but you're guaranteed to fix the face without any seams. When you come down here, you're going to use a different checkpoint. So use separate checkpoint. We're going to select that. Then we're going to come here. We're going to select an inpainting model. Now you can pick whatever inpainting model you want. I'm using DreamShaper XL Lightning Inpainting. This is a new inpainting model designed around the SDXL Lightning models, and it is wonderful. It does such a good job. So we're going to select that. So here's what's going to happen now. It's going to render the image using the TurboVision model or whatever model you have selected. It's going to isolate this. It's going to, when it does the inpainting, it's going to do a little bit more of a mask blur, 12 pixels out. And then it's going to switch over to DreamShaper XL Lightning Inpainting. Okay. This will slow down. I'm going to just show you real quick. So it's going to do the initial render real quick because it's already on the first model. Finds the faces. Now it's going to switch over to the other model. Now I'm going to show you a setting in your settings that'll kind of help with this swap out. As you'll see, mine moves pretty quick. And there's a lot of factors that go into that. I do have a 12 gig VRAM card. It's an RTX 3080 Ti. I mean, it's not super high, the super top of the line, but having 12 gigs of VRAM does help. Okay, let's dive into this and show you the results here. As you see, there is no line underneath this anymore. We got a beautiful rendition of the faces. It fixed everything with the eyes, the nose, the teeth look proper. I think that one kind of has a little bit of oddness right there, but it looks great. Okay. So here's the settings that I use when doing this right here. Most people don't know to use this, and they get frustrated using ADetailer because it leaves that unsightly seam where it did the inpainting. Okay, so what the settings I use, so I do have a lot of RAM in my computer, and one of the settings in Stable Diffusion, or in the, whether you're using Automatic 1111 or if you're using the Web UI Forge Edition, if you come down here and go to, I believe it is Stable Diffusion, here under settings under the Stable Diffusion option, down here, Stable Diffusion, and then under Stable Diffusion itself, you have an option here where it says maximum number of checkpoints loaded at the same time. Typically, this is set to 1. What this means is it's only going to load one checkpoint. And if you have to switch checkpoints, it dumps that checkpoint from memory, loads the next one. So if you have the RAM to do this, and what I mean by that is this is how many checkpoints it's going to keep in either VRAM. Like if you have it set to 1, it's only going to, and this checked right here, it's only going to keep one model in the VRAM. Now, if you do have the RAM in your computer, let's say you have, when I say RAM, I mean standard RAM, not VRAM. If you have at least 32 gigs of RAM, bring this up to 2. This is going to help you immensely in speeding up switching between models. Like if you have an inpainting model and a standard model that you use all the time, if you have this set to 2, you're going to be able to switch between these a lot quicker. And so what this does is you'll use one model, and then if you switch models, it takes the current model you're using and loads that into RAM, into regular RAM. The speed at which it can transfer data between RAM and VRAM is a lot faster than switching it between your, whether it's even a solid state drive versus a platter drive, to VRAM. It's just a lot quicker. I have mine set to the maximum, to 10. The reason for this is because I have 128 gigs of RAM, and I'm using my Stable Diffusion Forge Edition interface or backend as the API backend for my prompt generation, generating images. So if you come in here and generate a prompt and click generate, it's actually interfacing with my interface here and generating the image and sending it back up to you or to the people who are subscribed to that. That way you're able to access the speed of my system. Eventually I may upgrade to a RTX 4090 when I can get the money. So that being said, changing that setting is going, I'm telling you, it's going to make a world of difference. And so just set it to 2 if you have 32 gigs of RAM or more. And then when you come and do this and set this to your inpainting model, it's going to switch between those super quick. Okay. Don't worry about any of these other settings here. It's going to default to whatever settings you have up here, which is what you want anyway, because then it matches up the sampler proper and the sampling steps and everything as well. Okay, so that's the inpainting. That will help you out a lot. Okay, so what I want to get into next is utilizing the person part of this. So I've shown you how to really correct faces, and this will work for up to as many faces as you want. Sometimes you generate pictures and they have a lot of faces in them. These settings will work great for that. It'll help out getting those faces in there if you have a large group. What I'm going to do, we're going to create a image that does have a larger group or maybe the same number of people, but we're going to get a whole body, maybe they're further away from the camera, and see if we can't fix the torso's body, whatever, and show you how to do a good fix of that, the process of that. So first of all, let's get a different prompt here. What we want to do is we want to do a group portrait. Let's do small group. We don't want a lot of people. Small group portrait photography. on a beach. Let's just see what that looks like. Let's get the prompt, copy that. Let's just see what it looks like first. So we're not going to do the ADetailer. We're just going to see what this looks like. Yeah, I should change the aspect ratio too. Well, let's see what it gives us. Switching back models. Okay. I want them, you know, that's not bad. Let's do, I don't care if they're laughing. I don't want, we're just going to say walking. And the reason I want to use the word walking, this is just a little prompt engineering for you. When you specify walking, the AI realizes it has to include the function of walking, which means legs and feet. And it will tend to draw the camera angle back. And also changing the aspect ratio to a 5:4, more landscape, will also have the same effect. So let's just see what that gives us. So that's not bad. Let's do a telephoto. I want it to pull the camera angle back. I could specify details around their feet, but that right there is what I'm looking for. That's perfect. Okay. As you can see, we have gnarly faces. Yeah, the bodies are okay. I'm going to show you this anyway. This will be a great picture to work with. So first thing we're going to do, come down here. Now you're noticing I'm not using a negative prompt. SDXL Lightning models are actually really good when it comes to not needing a negative prompt. I could put a negative prompt in here, but honestly, I've learned that it actually takes away from the overall image and kind of limits what the model can do in a lot of ways, especially when working with fantasy, surreal, or very odd images, abstract images. You'd never want to use a negative prompt on those. So we're going to come down here, enable ADetailer. Now here's the trick. You don't want to do the face first. So when it says first and second, that means that it's going to execute this ADetailer section first, and then this ADetailer section second. And what that means is if you do the face first and then you do the body second, it includes the face as part of the body. And so it's going to fix the faces, and then it's going to take a larger section here, render section, and it's going to re-render the whole body, which is going to mess up the face again because it's not focused on the face. So as an example, let's just do that. We're going to leave this on face. We're going to switch this over to person. I don't think I need to change any of these other settings. Let's just hit generate and I'll show you what I mean. So it's going to render the image first, then it's going to switch over to the inpainting model. So we got 5 people in here. It's going to do the faces first. Just give it a second to kind of go through this. So it's interesting on the back end. What it's doing is it's doing a tiled upscale. So it's taking that image of the face, the one that's screwed up, and it's breaking it up into tiles and then re-rendering that so you get a higher resolution image and then reapplying it back to the face. It's fascinating how they figure this stuff out. It just blows my mind. Okay, so now it's detected all the bodies. And it's going to do a similar function. It's going to re-render each body, doing a tiled upscale first and then rendering it out. Did this one first, or might have done this one first. It's hard to tell depending on the inpainting area, but it doesn't really matter. So give it a second to finish this up. So it's got to go through 5 different people. This is why I didn't want to do a super large group, because it's doing each person individually. And I'm going to show you a technique to limit that. If you are working with an image that has, say, a massive crowd of people, you don't want it going through hundreds of faces. Okay, so let's open this image up. Hey, we did the inpaint. Why does the face still look crappy? It's because of the order in which we did it. The bodies look fine. Hands are actually looking better. Not too bad. Yeah, so, but the faces are garbage. So what we need to do is come back here. We need to switch this around. We're going to do the person first. Then we're going to do the face second. Re-render this out. We'll show you the result here. Okay, we got a finished product here. Let's open this up. I'm going to show you another little effect this has. It did a great job on this, by the way. I mean, I kind of went through, fixed the hands, stuff like that. But let's show you something else here. So if you look at this real quick, the face that it rendered, it left a kind of an after shadow of, I think, either the torso or the person, when it re-rendered this. And you can kind of see part of it down here too. So when it re-rendered the person, it kind of left this shadow effect. All the other people turned out great. This one, I don't know why it does that. I think one of the things that does that is under mask processing. There's this feature called mask erosion or dilation. So what this does is it tells the AI how much to erode the mask that it creates. So when it detects the person, it's literally detecting right at the edge of that person. Okay. And then what it does is it does the inpainting and then it mask blurs. So probably what we're seeing here is the result of that mask blur and including part of that. So what we're going to do with this, we're going to try this one more time. Because we're switching over to an inpainting model now, we don't necessarily need to worry about the inpaint mask blur a lot. I would still leave it at 6, but we're going to increase the dilation. So right now it's set to 4, which means what it does, it goes out 4 pixels from the original mask detection and includes that area around it. So we're going to increase this to, let's say 8, and redo it and see what it does. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Now we haven't upscaled this yet, these images yet. And I'll show you what I mean when we do that here. But yeah, it looks like we did a better job. It didn't leave any of that weird, what do you call it, haloing or echo image, shadow effect, whatever, from the previous one when it rendered out or re-rendered the bodies of the people, okay? There's, this AI image has its own little weirdnesses here. When it inpainted the face here, it looked like there was kind of some focal blur. You got to be careful with this. You may not want to have messed with this person's face from the original image. And that steps me into the next detail of what it is you want to fix when it comes to a large group of people. So one of the options here is, and we're going to change this back over to just face and disable the second one. When it comes to detection, so we have a confidence level that tells the AI how confident are you that that's a face. And you can basically say, so right now it's set by default to 0.3. That means that, God, I really wished I could word how the number is represented in the system, but you need to be 30% confident that it's a face. And this will catch most faces, even the ones that are in the background, that are very, very blurry, way far off. And you can turn this down, it'll just start detecting anything as faces. Yeah. Weird objects, patterns, whatever. But if you want it to be super confident that it's a face, you would turn this up to 40 or 50 even. Don't turn it up too high. You get up here to like 70, 80%, you're going to be missing a lot of stuff. So probably, like if you're wanting to eliminate a lot of the background faces, put it up to 40 to 50 if you want to just pick out the ones in the front. Now, the other way you can do this, let's say you do want it to detect pretty much everything, okay, but it's going to assign a confidence level to each face. So what we want to do is say mask only the top K largest, meaning highest confidence level. So let's say we only want the top 3 faces. Or, I don't know how big the next group we're going to render is going to be. Actually, we can use this one here. Let's grab that seed and put the seed in so we get this same image. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to eliminate this person and this person here. This person's face was pretty mangled. But we're going to try and catch the top 4 faces. So let's come down here. We've selected mask only the top K, so top 4 faces, top 4 highest confidence levels, really is what it comes down to. And we're eliminating the body, so this won't take as long, so we're not going to worry about re-rendering the body. We're just going to do faces. Okay, so let's go ahead and render this out. I say render, generate, whatever. Should do the same image. Yeah, there we go. Okay. It detected all the faces, but it's only going to grab, so like this one is 0.78. The rest are over 0.8. Okay, so it's going to take these, the top 4, so basically the people in front, and it's just going to fix their faces. This is great, especially if you're working with an image that has like a crowd of people, and maybe you only want the front X number of people in the front of the crowd's faces to be fixed. Okay, so as you can see, it fixed these 4 people's faces because they had the highest detection and left these people alone. Like this one would be totally fine because it was depth of field, and so you're not worried so much about the details. So if I wanted to, what I would do is come down here and say, oh, I do want to include this person because they are in focus, so let's go ahead and just say 5, and then re-render it. Okay, done with that one. So yeah, as you can see, what it was able to do, and here's the nice thing about using a seed. Like, let's say you found the image you want, you just want to work with that image, just make sure you grab the seed, just like I did here, put it in here, because it utilizes that seed also when re-rendering the faces. If you don't use a seed, obviously you're going to get a different image, and the faces are going to be different each time too, which is interesting. But because we're using the same seed, we're getting the same faces when they get fixed using ADetailer. So as you can see, it fixed the front 5 faces and left this person alone. So it looks like we got kind of an older person in the back while we got the younger people up front. So it works really well that way. So that gives you a great idea on that. Now so the hands in this are really not bad. We can fix those too, but let's step into the next one. Let's see what it does. I want to show you how to use this with high-res fix. So we're going to enable high-res fix. For those of you who don't know what this is a system that basically essentially doubles the resolution of the image you're working with by rendering the image first, and then at a lower denoise strength, re-renders it, slightly lower denoise strength so that it maintains a similar image, to fix and add detail. So we're going to enable high-res fix. We're going to leave it at the 0.7 that it was at before. And a lot of the times I'll reduce this because what it does is it changes at higher denoise strengths. It changes the whole image, but we're going to leave it there. And we're going to leave ADetailer on. We're going to enable person, and then we're going to enable face. It looks like it's already set. Okay. This will take a little bit. On the face, I am also going to, we're going to leave it, the detection where it's at, so we're only working with those front 5 people. Under mask processing, let's see, we're under person. I want to, yeah, so under here, since we're switching this over to person, let's go back to detection, and I don't care about that person in the back, so yeah, we're going to leave that at 5. So under the second with the face, we're also going to go to detection. We're only going to do the first 5. Okay. Mask processing, I'm going to add a little bit of erosion or dilation on this. We're going to bring that up to 12, just to help with any issues around the faces. It'd probably be fine at the 4, but we're going to bring that up. Let's see. So in painting, let's take this mask blur. I think we can leave since we're using an in-painting model. The strength we can leave. Let's come down here to the checkpoint. Let's see, where is it? Separate checkpoint. And we're going to switch this over to Dream Shaper XL again. I want to make sure it's using the inpainting model for both the person and the body. Oh, we were gonna, yeah, we're doing high. Sorry, I was thinking we were going into hands. So we're just testing the high-res fix, so you can see how much detail this is gonna pull out. So we've got all these settings set. I think we're good to go. Let's go ahead and hit generate on this and pause the video and come back when it's done. Okay, it just took a minute or so to get that done. So let's open this up. As you can see, the image does look a lot sharper. Now, a couple things here that I'm going to kind of point out. You're going to notice that there's some extra people in here, even though we're using a seed. And the reason for that is because we changed a couple of these other settings. I think by not necessarily by enabling high-res fix. I think there might have been some other changes I made, which is interesting in how Stable Diffusion works. As long as you keep most of these settings the same and use the same seed, it should generate the exact same image. Now you notice this image is similar, but slightly different. I think there was a setting I changed here somewhere that caused it to do that. So it's fine. This is really just to kind of show that it did do the high-res fix. We got the faces fixed. It also went through and tried to correct the body. So with this one here, we got a little shadowing over on this side. I'd probably open up the, what do you call it? Wow, I'm drawing a blank here. Down under mask processing, the dilation, open that up to maybe 12 to correct for that. One of the reasons why is because this is a pixel amount, so it's 8 pixels out. And what we did is we doubled the resolution on this, which means we probably should have doubled this right here, or at least brought it up to something higher like 16 or 20 to dilate out the mask out beyond that instead of just keeping it in there. So either way, you can mess with that and play around with that, but it did a pretty good job. Let's come in here a little bit. So it supposedly did the first 5 faces. So yeah, this guy just had some issues with that, but as you can see, it skipped these 2 people back here and possibly this person here, because there's some interesting stuff. When it re-renders at a high-res fix, it does do a little bit of its own correction, which is nice. Hands are a little odd, again, because of the person correction using ADetailer. Anyway, so that's using high-res fix with that. So it does the image generation first, does the high-res fix next, then it dives into doing the ADetailer functions. So the next thing we're going to go into, we're going to try hands. I'm going to show you what it does with hands. But before we do that, just real quick here, you'll notice that there's other settings down here dealing with under the inpainting option here that are checkboxes. All these do are, like, if you want to use a different inpaint width and height than what is set right here, which you might want to do, which might help with deformities, because sometimes when you have this set and the inpainting is trying to do that, instead of using a 1-to-1 ratio, it'll kind of mess things up. So something you might want to try is enable this and set it to the standard res of whatever the inpainting model you're using is. So if you're using a 1.5 or 2.1 model, you might want to leave it on 512 by 512. But because we're using SDXL, I would actually change these to 1024 by 1024. Okay. Separate steps. Again, all these do is just enable these so that it utilizes a separate step or separate config scale from what you have set up here in your standard settings. And let's see, we have obviously the checkpoint, use a different VAE, and sampler. Okay, so again, most of the time you're not going to mess with those. So let's dive into trying hands. Let's see if we can get an image that has hands that are, I don't know, we'll try something here. Let's do portrait photo of an old man sitting in a chair with his hands clasped. Resting on his legs. Let's see what that does. So let's disable ADetailer. I just want to, and high res fix. I just want to make sure we get an image that we can work with. We'll leave the aspect ratio the same, just kind of see what it looks like. Give it a second to switch over to the normal model. Oh, oops, didn't grab. I hit generate. I'm so used to hitting generate over here instead of copy. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, so we got a man with 3 fingers on one hand. The other hand looks fairly standard. So let's just see what it does. It's not going to fix this. This is something you have to understand. ADetailer, when you're going to fix hands, it may not be able to fix this at all. Let's try. I'll show you what it does. Let's go back to ADetailer, enable this. I'm going to disable the second one, switch this over to hand right here. We're going to put that seed in so we get the same image. Now, here's something you might want to do as well when doing this. We're going to render it as is, but we might try a positive prompt and negative prompt just to see what it can do. In the inpaint denoise strength, this you might want to turn up a little bit depending on how much you want it to try and change the hands. So try at 0.5, and then I think, yeah, we're gonna try this too. We're gonna put this at 1024 by 1024. We're going to leave everything else the same here. We want the inpainting model. We're only focused on the hands at this point. We're not going to worry about the face or the body or anything. And we're changing the inpainting to a 1-to-1 ratio area. So let's see what it does. It finds the hands. And we did up the denoise strength, so it will change things a bit. I don't know if it'll actually show. Okay, there we go. So it's going to add some detail to the hand, correct proportions a little bit. Let's see what it does with the other hand here. It had like 2 detections here for some reason. I'm not sure exactly why, but. And look at that. It actually did fix it. Okay, I mean, it's a little odd. You know, he's got a big knuckle or whatever, but it actually gave him 4 fingers. So I wonder if, let's see, does it have the ability to use a separate seed? Because I'm wondering if we don't want to use a seed on that. No, it does not, does it? Something we could also do is try using ControlNet. It does have the ability to use ControlNet, and like we could set it to OpenPose. So we'd use the OpenPose XL. So when it detects the hands, it might proportion them a little bit better. So let's do that. This could be a little interesting. And we're going to up the denoise strength as well to 0.6. Let's generate that. So this is what I mean when I say sometimes even ADetailer has an issue. Yeah, it turned his hand into like a squid hand, octopus hand, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. So we're gonna do a couple things. We're gonna turn down the denoise strength back to 0.5 because I think we had better luck there. I'm also going to, under detection, we're going to detect only the top 2 because it's still detecting something over here, and I feel like it's kind of doing more work than it should. But these 2 were like the top highest detection confidence, so we're going to do that. The mask processing, yeah, I don't think we need that much dilation. We're going to do 4 on that. And in-paint mask blur's fine. That's fine. That's all fine. I did have ControlNet set to OpenPose, but honestly, I think we're going to let it just do its own thing. So without ControlNet. So we should get only 2 detections this time. Just going to go through switch models, re-render. detects all three, but it's only going to do two when it re-renders the hands here. Switch back over to the inpainting model, re-render the first one. Okay, that looks good. Oh, interesting, it only did the one hand. Top three, maybe? So it's still kind of producing a big knuckle over there, but as you can see, I mean, it does try to fix it. So again, hands are difficult. I'm not going to kid you. A lot of the times you might be better off just re-rendering the whole image with a slightly different seed, just to see what you get, you know, and not even use ADetailer. Or you can go into inpainting, try fixing it there. If you're pretty set on that image or whatever image you have, there's other ways to go about fixing it. So sometimes I've even gone so far as to put something in their hands so that they're holding something to hide the hands. I mean, it gets pretty crazy. So that's really as far as I'm going to go with ADetailer. It's a pretty powerful tool. I use it all the time when rendering images with people in them. You know, one thing we can do, I'm going to show you another way to do this here is we're going to do a fantasy illustration of an, I don't know, ogre. Copy that. Let's go out here, get rid of the seed. We're going to leave it on face only. We'll leave all the other settings the same. I think they're fine. Generate that. And just to show you that it will detect other faces. Oh, it did not detect it on that one. Interesting. Did I have it enabled? Oh, I did not have it enabled. Like, that's weird. It'll detect weird things as faces, but not that? Yeah, don't think so. So it finds the face, and really it's just going to go in, add some detail to the face, not necessarily change it a whole lot, so it should maintain the ogre face. So you get detail on the teeth, you get details in the eyes. Yeah, it did a pretty good job. Nice. So yeah, you can use it on other things, not just people face. That's all I'm saying. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely like and subscribe. I should start saying that at the beginning of the video. I'm so not used to this YouTube thing. But I appreciate all the support, and we'll look forward to the next tutorial. Talk to you later.